now live, and I'm very excited today. By the way, about a couple months ago, when we were all, well, quarantined isn't the right word, but we were sequestered. We're all in our homes alone. And oh, you got your mask on, Marvin?
Yeah, if you got, let me see yours. All right.
So
Good.
I decided, what could I do to help all the
You're on
teachers?
now.
What could I do to help all the teachers, all the kids
Okay.
that were, and you were a teacher and you were teaching remotely. I really felt bad for you and all those kids that weren't in school. And I decided, what could I do? And you know what? I love all my author buddies, and I think they're all so talented and great people that I wanted my friends and the kids I meet and the teachers that I get to meet the people that I meet out on the road. So today I have one of my favorite authors, Marvin Terbin, and Marvin probably didn't realize this, but I grew up in Medford, Massachusetts. Well, in kindergarten I was in Medford, and guess what? Marvin grew up only 3 miles from me, which I couldn't believe. And the first time I met you, I don't know if it was in Iowa or Kansas or Nebraska, somewhere like that, you and I were trying to fix the slide projector to make it work properly because we were afraid when it was our turn to speak that the slide projector wouldn't be up to par.
That
So
was
I
a
don't know
long
if you
time
remember
ago.
that,
We were using slide projectors.
but you taught me to
Did
be prepared. So like an hour before we were supposed to talk, you might not remember this.
I
You're
don't.
like, come on, Jerry, come on. We got to go make sure the slide projector is ready to go. And the microphone, we can't just start talking. So this is a true story, Marvin. After I met you, from then on, I always went to my room like an hour early to make sure I was prepared for my talk.
Yeah.
So kids and teachers along the way, I met Marvin and I talked to him. And if you ever get a chance to see him speak, he is fabulous. In fact, my daughter today, she's now 32. My daughter today said, "Oh, you're going to be with Marvin today?" And she saw you speak at the Scholastic breakfast a few years ago.
Yeah.
So here is children's author, teacher, wonderful guy, wonderful guy, Marvin Terbin. So Marvin, should I tell them you grew up in Chelsea,
Yeah.
Massachusetts?
Well, I see that when you said wonderful guy, you choked up a little there. You're getting too emotional. Yes, I grew up in Chelsea. Chelsea's right near where you live in South Boston. And when
Right.
I grew up in Chelsea in the 1940s, it was a city mostly of immigrants. You could walk the streets of Chelsea and you could hear Russian and Polish and Yiddish and French and Irish. I thought Irish was a different language from English. It was an interesting city, founded in 1624, just 4 years after the Pilgrims set forth. And it grew to be a lovely kind of Currier and Ives city with beautiful houses and lawns and tennis courts. And then it all burnt down in the third largest fire in United States history, urban fire. Do you know what the other two were? You should know.
I would guess the Chicago fire would be one of them.
And the San Francisco earthquake fire and the Chelsea
Oh,
fire.
that's right. I forgot about the San Francisco fire.
The other two are famous. The Chelsea fire was an Easter Sunday, 1908. Most of the city burnt down, 3,000 buildings down, tens of thousands of people homeless. And including the library, the beautiful, magnificent old library built in the 1880s and all the books that burnt down there. And then Andrew Carnegie heard about it and gave the city a lot of money to build a beautiful new library. You know how much it cost? $29,000. And it was this big stone building, which is this just there now. And that was my home away from home. I lived in that library. I grew up at a time, of course, no internet. We couldn't have an encyclopedia or anything like that. So when you went to do your homework, you went to the library. And that's where I was surrounded by books and books and books and books. Never did I dream that someday I would write one of those, but that's what I did.
You ever come to Boston again? By the way, all of you out there, I'm in Situate, Massachusetts right now. And Marvin, tell them where you are right this second.
I'm in New York City in the epicenter. Just when we're finished, my wife and I are going to put these on and we're going to take a little walk. I'll show you. Right out there is Central Park, right through those trees. Wow. And we put on our masks and take a nice little stroll in the park right outside our door. We call that our front lawn, and we don't have to mow it.
So how long did you stay in Chelsea? I'm pretty sure you went to public school
I
there.
went to public school. It was a very poor public school. A lot of corruption in that town. As a matter of fact, it was one of the few school districts that actually, the whole city went bankrupt eventually. It was taken over by the state, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the school district was handed over to
Boston University.
to run. But I had wonderful teachers. I had great, wonderful teachers. And the speech that you heard me make was about my first grade teacher, Miss Lillian Holgate. And she was the one who really showed me that I could be an author. She came in one day in the first grade, and she had a big box filled with crayons and colored paper and staples and tape and rulers and pencils and so. And she said, everybody's going to write a book. And she helped us write the book, spell the words, draw the pictures. We dedicated the books in the front to our mommies and daddies. She took pictures of us and pasted them in the back of the book and wrote about the author. We were all in the first grade, so of course those paragraphs were very short about the author. And she made them hardcover. She brought in cardboard. And then she took these books mine was called The Fuzzy Green Dragon. She took the book, all of our books, to the public library where Sylvia Richmond, who was the librarian, was her friend. And she put them out on display in the children's reading room. And I used to go there practically every day after school and sit there and look at my book. And I would say to myself, that's my book. I wrote that book. That's a real book. I'm a real author. And that's what put the idea in my head that I
What
could.
a wonderful teacher.
Oh, she was
I
just.
I bet you're a wonderful teacher. Okay, we have a Harriet wrote in and said, I'm a big fan of Marvin Terbin, Kids Lit TV. We love Marvin. And then another lady wrote in, Karen Cohen.
Oh, yeah.
Great to hear you, Marvin. How you like that?
Well, those are friends of ours, and I'm glad that they're watching. And
all right, so you're in school in Chelsea. Do you go to high school in Chelsea High?
Went to Chelsea High, where, you know, in those days in the yearbook, they would give an award for the handsomest boy. I didn't win that. The best dresser, I didn't win that. The most athletic, I didn't win that. I won for the most intimidating award that you could get, the most likely to succeed.
Really? You won that back?
I didn't go to the reunion for 35 years because I wanted to know, what did they expect me to be if I was voted in my high school yearbook the boy most likely to succeed? But you know, Jerry, I did succeed because I have two of the best jobs in the world. I'm a teacher and I'm a children's book author. So that's, of course, I've got a wonderful family. Karen and I are going to be married 55 years this week. Two wonderful children, David and Jennifer. Two wonderful grandchildren. Look, there's my grandson, Wolfie, my favorite picture of him. I took it off the refrigerator. Look at that face. Look at that face. His, not mine. He's going to be 6 years old soon. And there's my favorite.
Wow, he's 6 years old?
He's going to be 6. And this is my granddaughter when she was very young. My favorite picture of her, Summer, and her birthday.
Summer looks like Karen.
Oh, yeah, the hair. Yeah.
Summer looks like Karen.
Yeah, they put their heads together and you can't tell where the hair of one ends and the other. So Summer's birthday is this week, 13, and Father's Day and our anniversary. So we're going to celebrate it all this weekend at our daughter Jennifer's house.
All you teachers out there, Marvin has taught for 57 years in the same school, right?
It's the same school, 1963. It'll be my 57th year when school resumes in the fall.
Oh,
but it's
yeah,
wonderful school.
1963. I was 10 years old.
Yeah, it's true. I could be your dad. You better show me some respect. Show the elders your respect. Yes, as a matter of fact,
I have great respect for you.
a couple of weeks ago, we had the 50th anniversary reunion of the class of 1970 online, like this, on a Zoom meeting. And those kids were 12 years old in my 6th grade. And they're all older than you now by a year or two. They're all 68 and 69 years old. There were 50 of them who graduated, and 33 of them came to the reunion online, even one from Europe to the reunion.
They remember you?
I reminded them of the day that Mr. Silver, the gym teacher, rushed into my room a Friday afternoon and said, Marvin, and we never called the teachers by their first names in front of the kids. So the kids knew something was up. And he said, come here, took me out in the hallway and he whispered into my ear, President Kennedy has been shot. They think he's dead. And I went back into the classroom, ashen-faced, and the kids said, what's the matter? What's the matter? I said, something bad has happened. I'm going to dismiss you early, which was something we never did.
Yeah.
Go home and your parents will tell you. The kids who came to the reunion a month ago, the 50, remembered that day.
I remember because I was in 5th grade in Sister Aurelia's class, and Sister Aurelia was crying and told all of us. How you like that? 5th grade. I had a nun named Sister Aurelia.
That's correct. You would have been in the 5th grade that day. That's right. Yeah. We never forget those days, do we?
So from there, where'd you go? Chelsea High?
In Medford, where you were born, went to Tufts, studied literature and writing and opera and all liberal arts subjects and theater. And then I went to Columbia University, New York, and fell in love with New York City and decided after I got my master's degree in what was in those days called communications, I would stay in New York. So I got a little apartment, $139 a month. I walked by it the other day. I bet it's $4,000 a month now, but it was $139 a month. And I needed a job. And somebody said, you know, you could be a teacher. And I said, no, I don't have a teacher's license. I never went to educational school, took educational courses. They said, you know, in the private schools, you don't need a license or any kind of registration or any kind of certificate. So I applied to 10 private schools. I didn't have any money. I went to a bookstore. I got a book called the New York City Private School Handbook. I copied stuff out. I sent resumes to 10. I got 2 interviews. One was from the Dalton School. You may have heard of that. And at the end, the man shook my hand and said, we'll let you know. And I'm waiting for the phone call 57 years later. And then Columbia Grammar School interviewed me and they said, you've got the job. A couple of years ago, I was speaking just outside of Baltimore and I had dinner with the principal who hired me. She's now in her early 90s. And I said, Ruth, why did you give me the job? I had no experience. I'd never taught a day in my life. I didn't have a teaching certificate. She said, Marvin, we gave you the job because you were the only applicant who was willing to accept the salary we were offering. $4,400, not $1,000, $4,400 a year, and you could definitely live on it. I see we've got another question coming in.
Yeah, it says, and Wolfie wants to, it's from Jen.
That's my daughter. That's my daughter.
And Wolfie wants to know why you fell in love with New York City.
Why did I fall in love with New York City? I love the, hi,
anything to do with it?
Wolfie. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, he's my look, Wolfie, there's your picture. Remember when you were very young? I love you. I'm going to see you this weekend. You can hug me around my waist. I fell in love with New York City because of the theater, the Broadway theater. I loved going to that. And the big tall buildings, the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty and all of those things I'd seen in the movies. I wanted to live among those things. And I thought I could make my fame and fortune in New York City. But let me tell you more about Miss Holgate. Miss Holgate was the one who taught me the first time about homonyms. You know, words like red, R-E-D, and red, R-E-A-D. And she set up 4 little tables and 2 chairs at each table, and she taught us restaurant skills. And we all sat down and we had menus and people were waiters. And when we were finished, she said, okay, here's a riddle. If 4 couples went to a restaurant, how many people dined? And we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people make 4 couples. 8. And she wrote it on the board, E-I-G-H-T-A-T-E, and she taught us restaurant skills, she taught us counting, she taught us multiplication, and she taught us homonyms. And when I wrote my first book of homonym riddles, what did I call it?
8.
A feast. And I sent you
one of the coolest book idea stories I've ever heard. Yeah. I loved it.
And it became a whole book of homonym riddles. And now my latest book, 43 years later, by the way, this book has been in print, no, not 42 years this book has been in print, and it's still in print. My first book. Others have gone out of print, but 8/8 still is. And here's the latest, Jerry, that I wrote for
Laugh
you.
it up. All right, are you ready? Summer wants you to tell a joke from your latest book. Laugh out loud. Laughing is the best way to learn.
All right.
Up from Summer.
I'll tell a book. Summer's my granddaughter. Okay, let's see. A good joke. Oh, I'll tell you one. These are perfect for young kids. Why didn't the auto mechanic wash up before going to bed, Jerry? Because he wanted to get up oily in the morning. Oily. What did the judge say when the skunk walked into the courtroom? Odor in the court. Odor in the court.
Odor in the court.
Yeah. What did the father ox say to his child when he left for school? Bye, son. All right.
That's a good one.
Why?
Did you make that one up?
No, I didn't make any of them up. I made some of them up, but they're classic jokes. They're classic jokes that you can find. They've stood the test of time. And I have a video about this, which I would like to show you about this book. So we could run the video now, the Laugh It Up video. Let's see how that goes.
Great. I can't wait to see it.
Hi, I'm Marvin Terban, and I'm a lucky guy because I have two of the best jobs in the whole world, and they both have to do with kids. First, I'm a teacher. I've been teaching English and Latin at this school in New York City for over 50 years, and I've loved every minute of it because I love being with kids. And then I write books for kids. That's my second job. Here are some of the books that I've written. The other day, my granddaughter, Summer, sent me this video.
Of all the books you wrote, what's your favorite?
My favorite book that I wrote. Oh, I know. My latest book. This one, Laugh It Up, The Funny Kid's Guide to Cracking Jokes. It has 4 of my favorite words in the title: laugh, funny, kids, and jokes. If you look the word joke up in a dictionary, it says something you say that makes people laugh. Okay, but how do you do that? How do you take a group of words and put them together in just the right way so that they'll sound funny? Laugh It Up shows you how to do that. First of all, jokes are made of wordplay. That means words that play around with you and with each other. For instance, take words that sound exactly alike but have different spellings and different meanings, like foul and foul. Foul, F-O-U-L, can mean bad weather. F-O-U-L, foul, can mean a foul ball in baseball. Foul, F-O-U-L, can also mean smelly, like these. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, thanks. The other fowl, F-O-W-L, means a bird, like a rooster or a duck or a turkey. You can make up jokes by playing around with those two words, foul and foul, that sound exactly alike but have different spellings and different meanings. And there are different ways of telling a joke. One way could be two people or two animals talking, like this rooster and this baby chick. I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. Why, Daddy? Because you used foul language. A joke could also be a question and an answer, like a riddle. Why did the farmer spray his chickens with perfume? Because he couldn't stand the foul smell. A joke could be a headline in a newspaper. turkey arrested for foul play. It could even be a one-liner. That's a whole joke in just one sentence, like this. Oh, never go near a wild turkey when he's in a foul mood. Enough with the drums already. Words like foul and foul are called homonyms. Your teacher may call them homophones. They're really the same thing, and they're used to make up jokes all the time. You can see a lot of those jokes in the book.
How else can you make up jokes?
Well, you can make up jokes with words that almost sound alike. Almost. Like this. What's a train that carries ballet skirts? A tutu train. You get it. Tutu and choo-choo almost sound alike, and that's what makes the joke. Here's another joke with words that almost sound alike.
What do you do for a living?
Me? I weigh whales.
Where do you do that?
At a railway station. Here's another joke based on words that almost sound alike. If the bird that flies over the sea is a seagull, what's the bird that flies over the bay?
A bagel.
There she goes. You can also make up jokes with words that have more than one meaning, like dough. Dough is a mixture of flour and water that bakers use to make bread. Oh, good. Dough is also a slang word for money. Oh, I'm going to buy something big with this. No, I won't. Bakers knead the dough like this. They knead it. Knead means squeeze and shape the dough. And knead sounds like need. So knead and need are two words with one sound, and dough is one word with two meanings. That's a lot of wordplay. And you can make up a joke headline from all that wordplay like this. Bakers on strike. They need more dough. Here's a riddle based on another word that has more than one meaning. What do trees have that dogs do? Bark. Finally, you can make up some really good jokes with idioms. Idioms are common sayings that people use every day, like to get cold feet. That means to be afraid to do something. Jokes with that saying could be about penguins or polar bears, like these. Why was the penguin afraid to jump off the iceberg? Because he got cold feet. Why was the polar bear afraid to ask his girlfriend out on a date? Because he got cold feet. See how that works? That joke could also be about a snowman. No, it couldn't. They don't have feet. There are plenty of funny jokes using idioms in Laugh It Up. The world needs more laughs, and that's up to you. Make people laugh by making up jokes using different words that sound alike or almost sound alike or have different meanings or that use idioms. The world will thank you for it. And if I ever meet you in person, I'll expect you to tell me a good joke. I'll tell you one. Did you hear the one about the little duck who flew upside down? She quacked up! Oh, that joke always cracks me up. I hope you have a day full of laughs. Laugh it up! Thanks, and bye.
And
Hey, Marvin.
what? Here I am. Hello. I'm still here. Are you there?
I'm right here.
There we go.
Hey, you know what I remember about your talk?
What?
you were using the same word with different meanings. So you said the bass played the bass.
Oh yeah, those are homographs. I wrote a couple of books about homographs too. Homographs are words that are spelled alike but sound differently, like the dove. But you know, I want to say that this book illustrates what I've been trying to do all my life in both teaching and in writing, which is
Yeah.
to bring humor to what could be very dry, boring, dull subjects. Language arts skills, which is what I've been trying to do all my life, language arts skills, and teaching it, made a career where I teach Latin and I teach English. Those skills are necessary. And what I found is that most of the kids don't learn them today. They don't learn them at all. And I get kids who are coming into my 7th, 8th, 9th grade Latin classes, and they don't know enough basic English grammar. And language teachers will tell you this all over. If the kids don't know the basic grammar in their own language, they'll never be able to learn it in a foreign language. So my goal in life has been to find humor in education, to be able to teach, make the kids laugh, see the humor in it. I'm not teaching about the causes of the Civil War or the outcome of the Second World War. I'm teaching basic language arts skills. For instance, the last set of jokes were about idioms. And I noticed that kids don't understand idioms. We adults use idioms nonchalantly all the time, but kids who read them in books or hear them on television or hear their parents say, they don't understand it. So I've written 4 books about that. The first one was In a Pickle. And I know you've been in a pickle sometimes. And then Mad as a Wet Hen. And then this one was about action idioms, which is punching the clock, action idioms. And then I put them all together into a dictionary of idioms. And this book was so popular among older kids and adults that Scholastic, which is your favorite publisher and mine, finally brought it out as a book that looks more like an adult book or a book for college kids. And that's the one of the 3 that sold over 1 million college copies. And look, Jerry, I just want to show you.
Yeah.
It was bought by a Japanese and a Korean publishing company who brought out the dictionary of idioms that way.
I saw those and I thought, wow.
That's because people all over the world want to learn English. It's the world's great second language. And then I want to just show you a funny little thing. They had one of the idioms on the back cover, and it says what? Pill the beans. Do you see that?
It says what?
It says, you know, I have to put it in the wrong place. Pill the beans instead of spill the beans. So a little something was lost in that translation. Now,
I want to show you something, how you affected me.
how did I affect you?
Wrote a book of eyeballs.
What is, hold it back. The eyeball. How could you get 26 letters out of the eyeballs?
I wrote a book of eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
And what did I do? I put idioms in the book to have like something a little extra, like,
So what
Let
did
me
you
see
do
this
for
one
Q?
right here.
What did you do for Q?
black eye, to set your eyes, feast your eyes. I put all these idioms in here.
Oh, you
Eye
put them.
candy,
I
private eye.
so you
So
did a
besides
book of
teaching the kids
idioms
about eyes,
just based on eyes.
I wrote a book of all eyeballs, yeah. But
And you used idioms.
it's like an added thing. I probably learned it from you.
Well, I
All right,
don't think you
Marvin.
did. I'll take credit anyhow.
We're moving along here. I found out that you are a movie star.
Hardly.
About your movie star career. How did that happen?
Well, what happened was that in many years ago, Mia Farrow's sister came to our school, brought her son. And he liked it so much, he was in my class, that Mia Farrow put 5 of her children. She had 13, you know, eventually, some adopted and some natural. And so she,
Prudence?
what?
Was it Prudence?
To have 13 children? No, I don't think that was very prudent at all.
Prudence Farrow. Was that her sister?
No, her sister's name was Stephanie. Her sister's name is Stephanie. So me as 5 children were in my class. And at that time, I was doing community theater. And I got a part in South Pacific, the part of Billis the Sailor. And in one scene, I had to dance in a hula skirt with a mop on my head. And they came to see it, and they told their mother's boyfriend, Woody Allen, our teacher's funny, you should put him in a movie. And one day, his office called and said, Mr. Allen would like to audition you for a part in a film. So I went there, and the casting director said, listen, he's going to be in the dark. You're not going to see him. Don't ask any questions. Don't say anything. Here's the script. Just read the part and walk out. Don't ask any questions. But I did. I said, what is the character that I'm playing? What was I, a method actor? I had to know my character? Just read the lines. So he came forward out of the darkness, and he explained the part. And he said, now, why don't you go outside and read it over? I thought, well, there's my big Hollywood break shot. I went outside, and I came back in, and I had memorized the speech. I don't know how I did it. And I gave the speech, and he came out of the darkness again, and he said, I wish all of the actors I worked with could memorize their speeches as fast as you did. He said, I'm going to give you a part in the picture, but not this one. I've got a better part for you. And when I saw the picture, that part that I'd auditioned for was over in 1 second, and I played a teacher in Crimes and Misdemeanors. So, and then he put me in 7 of his movies.
I go watch Crimes and Misdemeanors, I'm going to see you.
You will definitely see me. The same face. I'm wearing a big hat, and it's a very pivotal scene. The New York Times said that was the most pivotal scene in the movie. It's a heavy movie, that Crimes and Misdemeanors. And Radio Days. Radio Days was the first one I was in. Radio Days, Crimes and Misdemeanors, but then he cut me out of 3. Do you remember the Golden Girls, Jerry? The Golden Girls, the television show, The Golden Girls. Remember the one who played the mother, Estelle Getty? She and I did a scene with Woody Allen, and it was a big scene, and I had all the lines. And then 6 months later, she called me from Hollywood to say, Marvin, I've got bad news. Our scene has been cut. Oh, I was already rehearsing my acceptance speech for the Academy Awards for Best Actor. But that's what happens. If you want to be a children's book author or an actor, you've got to be able to endure rejections. How many rejections have we gotten? I think we have another question coming in.
It says, hi, Marvin. This is from Pat Farrell.
Yes?
Hi, Marvin. Love hearing you speak with Jerry. Thanks for holding down the fort, Pat and Tom.
Yeah, and Pat Farrell is a wonderful artist and designer who has done a whole series of the Empire State Building from every single aspect. We have one in our house, too. Hi, Pat. Hi, Tom. And I think Glenn was on, somebody named Glenn.
Glenn says, I've heard you have a favorite nephew. Please explain this preference.
He's my favorite nephew. That's what he's calling, and that's my nephew.
Glenn is your favorite nephew?
Well, I'm going to say it now since he's gone on record of pressing me to agree with that. Hi, Glenn. How are you doing?
Hi, Glenn.
Yeah.
I'm a lucky guy knowing Marvin.
Yeah. What else have you got for me?
They never get to see people like me that meet you on the road. You know what I mean?
No, I tell them about the characters I pick up along the way, but they don't believe it till now.
And I understand that the famous comedian Henny Youngman has a connection to you.
Well, Henny was my wife's uncle. And at the beginning, when I first met him, he would say, this is my wife, Karen, and her husband, Marvin. We got to be best friends that years later he was saying, this is my nephew, Marvin, and his wife, Karen, which annoyed her no end. But Henny, he lives on. Just the other day, the headline of the New York Post in New York was his most famous line, take my wife, please. He's been dead for over 20 years, but that one joke, it's considered the greatest, best 4-word one-liner that any comedian ever told. He worked until just before he was 92 years old, Jerry. Wow. So we're young. 92, he was still doing stand-up comedy from a wheelchair.
Wow.
And he would be rolled out onto stage and he would say, I'm sorry I can't stand up. I just hurt my leg in a skiing accident. That's what he said. And he had his whole act from a wheelchair toward the end of his life.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's great.
great character.
Now, did he affect you at all? Did he give you a few ideas?
Well, what he told me, because I once went with him to Atlantic City. He took any job, and he took a job to be the breakfast speaker at a conference, a convention of either lawyers or financial guys. I think they'd all been up the night before. They were drunk. They hadn't slept, and he didn't get one laugh. He didn't get one laugh. And when we were driving home, I said, "Did it bother you that you didn't get any laughs?" He said, "No, I did my job." And he said to me, "Nem de geld." Now that's Yiddish. You know what nem de geld means? Take the money. He went to the job. They didn't laugh. He didn't matter. He did his job. He took the money and he went home. So what he taught me was that sometimes when you go up on stage, the audience is with you. Sometimes when you go up on stage, the audience isn't with you. You and I have done enough public speaking to realize that. You do the best you can. Sometimes the lighting isn't right, or it's too hot, or it's too cold, or the projector doesn't work, or the microphone is lousy, or the audience just isn't in the mood for you, or you're the last person on at the end of a long day, or the first person on, and they're all still tired from the night before. You just do your job to the best of your ability, and then you move on.
All right, here we go. It looks like Sergeant Peril. Does that make sense to you?
No, no, not at all.
It says, "I hear you hang out with some famous and accomplished authors each month."
Oh, I do. I have a, oh,
And you
28 years ago, I
said,
started,
and you mostly eat and laugh.
we do.
I
28,
can honestly say, by the way, the second time I was with you, Marvin, which I remember very well, you and I were at a dinner with about, I don't know, 20 authors, maybe 10 authors.
Yeah.
They served us sushi, and we were eating sushi all night.
which I don't eat
I remember you talked all night.
because I couldn't eat the sushi. That may have been it. I couldn't eat the sushi, so I just kept my mouth going otherwise. I forget what the question was. Oh, yes, this authors group, which we call Aggie, A-G-G-Y. I know the AG stood for authors group, but I don't know what the rest of it stood for. We've been going for 28 years, the third Wednesday of every month. We meet times in my living room here, and we order in food, and at first we were supposed to be a children's book author critique group.
Yeah.
And now we've gone to each other's, to funerals in their families, and lived through so many life adventures after 28 years. And we talk about books and our agents and our editors, and we order the Chinese food, and we have a great time.
I want to be invited.
The next time you're in New York, you will be my guest. I think that young lady who was just asking a question is from California. She's in California.
Yeah, Pam Munoz Ryan says, "Hi, Marvin."
Oh, Pam. Hi, sweetheart, Pam. I have to apologize. Every time I see Pam, I apologize to her, because you know why? One year I saw her give the most magnificent speech at an ILA meeting. And afterwards, I was so thrilled to meet her. I came up to her afterwards like a schoolboy in love. And I said, "Oh, this is such a thrill to meet you." She looked at me straight in the eye and said, "Marvin, you and I had dinner together last year here." Oh, I was so embarrassed, but I will never forget Pam after that. Hi, Pam.
If I ever run into her and I mention you, she just lights up. Her face just lights up.
Well, I light up when I think.
All right, here we go. Here's Jessica Leong.
Right.
And says, "Hi, Uncle Marvin. Great to see you. Can you share a story from your childhood growing up with your sisters?"
My sisters, Lorraine and Rosalind. What?
Were you the only boy?
I was the youngest boy with two older sisters. And I married the youngest daughter of two older brothers. And in the Ladies' Home Journal that year, there was an article that said that would be the perfect marriage. A boy with two older sisters marrying a girl with two older brothers, get married, it'll last forever. So it's 55 years. So Lorraine, Rosalind, and I, we grew up in a very poor family. We always had food on the table because my father was a butcher.
Yeah.
I slept in the same bedroom with my two older sisters until I was 10 years old, and we moved into another apartment. Finally, I got a bedroom of my own. And I want to say hi to my sister Lorraine. My sister Lorraine will be 90 next month, and she's watching now, I hope, with my brother-in-law George. And she just moved into a new apartment and got a brand new computer, an Apple, which she never had before. And every day I try to teach her how to use it. And 10 minutes before I got on with you, I called her at Peabody, Massachusetts, to make sure she had the right connection. Click on this link, Lorraine, and just wait. I hope she waited the 10 minutes delay that we had because of technical difficulties, and she's seeing this. So hi, Lorraine. Yeah.
I'm sure Lorraine is watching. Yeah.
If not, we'll get her the link to the YouTube video after this. Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'll tell all your relatives that are watching? When I'm on the road and I run into you, it reminds me to have enthusiasm, you know?
Well,
I've never seen you in a bad mood.
And
you know, when you're on the road, you can be dragging sometime, or you can have a bad day.
No. First of all, I wake up every morning, and the first thing I do is I open my eyes and say, "Oh, I woke up. I woke up to another day. I didn't die in my sleep. I woke up." And I think how blessed I am. I'm not a religious person, but I really am. Boring because I've lived in the same building for over 50 years. I've had the same job for 56 years. I've had the same wife for 55 years. If you found a telephone book that was 60 years old and found my name in it and called that number, I'd pick up the phone here. It's the same phone number. I just turned 80, but I feel great. I'm writing all the time. I'm still teaching. I still have a full-time job as a teacher.
Yeah.
I love my students. I learned how to teach them online. And there's no wonder I'm never in a grumpy mood. What is there to be grumpy about?
I agree.
You know, I'm a lucky guy. I'm a lucky guy. And then along the way, what I never figured, Jerry, when I published my first book, I thought being a children's book writer would be a lonely job. You'd go into the room, you'd close the door, and you'd sit at your typewriter, although I started off with pencil and long yellow sheets of paper, then to a typewriter, then to an electric typewriter, then to an IBM Selectric, and then to a computer. But you would say to the kids, Daddy's working, I'm writing a book, I want to be quiet. And I thought it was a lonely, solitary job. Then I got invited on my first school visit. Then I got invited to speak at my first conference. And a whole new world opened up to me. I've spoken all over the world, Israel, China, Japan, South America, all over Europe. And along the line, I picked up people like you, people like me, who are doing the same thing. It's like being on the old Orpheum circuit, isn't it? In vaudeville. And we meet each other at various conferences, going back and forth.
Right.
And you come and hear me speak, and I come and hear you speak, and then we have dinner afterwards, and then we end up here. You're in Massachusetts, I'm in New York, and we're talking on this interview, so it's great.
And I'm thrilled that you would come on. I can't thank you enough.
Why would
And there was something else I wanted to tell you. I remember that you came to see me speak, only I didn't see you in the audience. And afterwards, you came up and talked to me.
Well, the reason I sneaked
You gave
in,
me great confidence.
I didn't want to take the spotlight away from you. I realized if it was people saw me coming in, they would say, "This Marvin," and you would be up on the stage. It would be no good. But you put me up with you one time. Do you remember when you put me up with you one time?
Yeah, I think I had a shark bite your head off.
That's right. And you had and that was with the slide projector. And you had the slide of the shark, and you made it go across the room and made me stand there. And I didn't know what was happening. The audience was laughing as that big shark came behind me.
That's right.
We just have the two of us have to be lucky. I remember about 5 years ago, you were a little late after your introduction at a place up on the stage. They said, "Where is he?" When they introduced you, came in late. And they said, "Where were you?" And you said, "I had to go to the bathroom." And you said, "I'm 62 years old," which you thought was old at that time, right? I'm 62 years old, I had to go to the bathroom, right? Now it's 5 years later, right? And you're still going strong.
That's right.
So we just have to be grateful. Being a teacher and being a children's book author means that in my life, I'm surrounded by kids.
Right.
The kids are keeping me young. I love to be surrounded by kids. I can't wait to see my grandchildren, Summer and Wolfie, this weekend, and my son and daughter, David and Jennifer, this weekend.
Well, why don't you tell us a couple more stories? By the way, I couldn't believe all the books you had.
Oh, Jerry, you must beat me. Remember, my job as a book writer is my part-time job. It's what I do after school and weekends and on vacations. Yours is a full-time job. Well, I'll tell you some of the other books that I've written.
I couldn't believe all your titles.
Yeah, for a part-time job, it's pretty good. This one has become the #1 grammar book, sold over 1 million copies. Checking
your grammar. I need to read that.
Well, you know what's interesting about this? On my website, I have people can write me, and I say it's for kids only. And I thought kids in the United States would send me questions about grammar, punctuation, spelling, idioms, and so forth. Most of the emails I get are from foreign people, from Afghanistan, from Iran, from Russia, who are trying to build up their language arts skills. And they want to know about the English language. So I answer all of those letters. Very few are from children in the United States, most of them from foreign countries. And then this is another thing that Scholastic put out for me, which was the Marvin Terbin's Guide to Grammar, Parts of Speech, because all grammar has to begin with the parts of speech. You see that pig? That pig there is a puppet pig that my granddaughter Summer lent to me. But now at their house on Long Island, they have 2 pet pigs. When our daughter Jennifer was a kid, she loved animals.
I need to read that book too.
Well, it's not. It's actually a book for teachers, and it's got the videos. You see, all the videos are in there. They have 2 pet pigs, Eileen and Pickles.
Yeah.
You can go out in the backyard and see their pigs. So when we visit our daughter Jennifer's house and her husband Kevin, then you're going to see the pigs. Well,
you know what I thought after I saw you speak?
What?
I thought that I wished every kid in the country could get to see your talk. That's what I thought after I saw you speak. I go, there was so much in your talk about English and grammar and sentences and jokes, and there was so much in your talk. You think I'm sweet talking you, but I'm not.
I love it. Keep going. That's why I stopped talking myself.
I thought every kid in the country should get to see your talk.
Thank you for that very much. I appreciate it.
I feel that way.
You know what's also been a thrill to me is people send me links to websites that are selling my books. And the one that touched my heart the most was a number of websites for autistic children.
Yes.
My books, because particularly the grammar books and particularly the books on idioms. And mothers write in, the fathers write in, who are homeschooling these kids and saying, my child has so much trouble comprehending the idiosyncrasies and vagaries of the English language. And your books are helping them to understand English and particularly American idiomatic speech. And we read an idiom every night and explain it to them, making the English language so much more comprehensible to them. And that makes me feel so wonderful that I'm able to reach those kids. I never thought of it that way when I was writing those books. I never thought I would be going out and speaking and meeting people like you and going to schools. It's a second part of being a children's book author that has totally enriched my life tremendously.
Yeah, I would say all my author buddies have totally enriched my life. So I can say thank you to you, Marvin. And then I thought I would leave you with a joke. We've been gone for about an hour. Karen's probably ready to kill me.
No.
So I thought I could leave you with a joke for Wolfie. How's that?
Go, good. Wolfie's listening.
Why can't you hear a pterosaur go to the bathroom?
Want me to answer it?
Do you know the answer?
Because the P is silent.
That's right.
Only I tell it as a pterodactyl.
Oh, why can't you hear a pterodactyl go to the bathroom?
A pterodactyl go to the bathroom because the P is silent. And you know who told me
that joke?
Who?
Second grader.
A third grader told it to me. She must have been in the 3rd grade when I went to her school, and she couldn't stop laughing through the whole joke.
Yeah.
That's a great
Want to hear another joke a second grader told me?
Yeah, what?
What did the fish say when he swam into a wall?
I don't know. What did the fish say when he swam into a wall?
Damn.
Damn. Oh, all right. I'll tell you my favorite language art skills joke. Here's my favorite pronoun joke. Teacher asked a kid, name 2 pronouns. And the kid said, who? Me? And the teacher said, right. All right. You didn't get that. All right, here's that Terry. What?
I gotta read your books. I didn't get that joke.
Oh, because you don't know what pronouns are, who and me. Or this is my favorite vocabulary joke. That woman over there says she met me in the vegan club, but I never met her before. You don't get that one either?
Hold on. Tell me again.
That woman over there says she met me at the vegan club, but
Yeah.
I never met her before. Ah!
I
Jerry,
don't get
all right. Well, I'll have to, after this, I don't want to tell you any more of my jokes because I don't want to embarrass you.
All right.
All right.
I never met her before. You mean
Her
buffet?
before.
Never met her buffet?
Let's move on. Let's move on. All right.
Well, all you kids out there, all you teachers, thank you for listening. Thank you, Marvin, for coming on. And I think this is great. When I run into teachers this year, I'm going to say, go online, go watch me interview Marvin Terban. He's a great author. Check out his beautiful books. Go to his website. So that's what I promise I'll do.
Thank you, Jerry. And I can't wait for this lockdown to be over so that you and I can meet at the next conference and we won't have to social distance. And I can
Right.
have a big hug in person. We can go out to dinner, not have to sit 6 feet apart. And
Think about it. We were visiting schools for 30 years or longer, and all of a sudden we couldn't visit a school.
because
you
there are
know?
no kids in the schools. There are no
Right.
kids in the schools. And I'll explain when I see you next in private, I'll explain to you what the punchlines of those jokes meant. Okay? Okay. Jerry, I got to go because I want to take a little walk in Central Park right now.
You know what? I'm going to go too. How's that? Bye, Marvin. Thank you, everybody, for having us.
Bye,
Thank you for
everyone.
having us.
Thank
you
you.
to our Secret Weapons, Jamie and Mary Alice, who are in the background helping us out.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
To all your friends who sent us.